Welcome to my video on how to vinyl wrap your trims in your Jaguar XKR. It's the X150 5-litre model. To start with, you're going to need the right tools to do the job. So I bought a very cheap set off Amazon online, which I think it's called Airlow. If you search it on Amazon, you'll find this set very quickly. I think it cost £8. These tools are essential to get the veneers off without causing damage to the car. So if you go and buy them first of all, then you'll be well set for removing the panels, which is a fairly easy job. In my video, I do show the type of vinyl wrap that I've purchased as well, which cost me around £30 on Amazon. And 3M have got a huge range of different types of wraps that you can use. I've chosen a black patterned one, which I think, now that I've finished the job and inspected it, it looks amazing. But you can get carbon fibers, brush metal, you can get various coloured wraps, and pretty much you can get anything you like. But I've picked the black one, and you'll see at the end of this video, it looks very good. So the easiest one to start off with is the door trim. That's just a single panel there. I use this tool, it's a little hooky tool with some fine plastic fork teeth on the end. And in the little groove at the back, you can see there, you place the tool into the groove, give it a wiggle it sideways, and slowly you'll see the gap starts to grow. And then once it's released, you can just pull it back and lift it off. And that's it. That's your trim off. And you can see at the front of the trim, there are two little spades there at the back, and that's what hooks it. And at the front, at the bottom, there are the locator pins to hold it in place. So when you're putting it back, it's dead easy. You just drop it back into the right place, and then you literally push it forward to click it back in again, which I'm not going to do fully because I need this off now. The center console is the next one to remove, I think. It fits very tight and it is a little bit difficult to get out. So I'm going to show you in reverse order because I think it helps to understand. This is my center console removed. If you have a look underneath, they're on top here. If you have a look underneath, there are actually 6 toggles. So there's one here where my thumb is. There's one about halfway down, and there's one at the back there. So there's 3 on each side, obviously. And they're the only things that hold this in place. And they are located, one there, the little slot, one here, and one at the back. So those 3 little grooves take those toggles, okay? And they basically just fit tightly into those grooves, and then they click down into place. So to remove it, you need to carefully prise the whole thing upwards. I'm going to let it drop into its position now so that you can see. And if you just pop them down, a bit of a wiggle, it's tight fitting. There. I'm not going to push it all the way down because it's really hard to get back up again. So effectively, that's it back in place. And with the use of one of your special tools that you get in your pack, I used these two to get it started. You effectively use the very thin one there, and you start off in the back here where the felt is, and get it to prise in and wiggle it up. You might have to do it that way. Get it to prise in and wiggle it up. And then you'll start to see, after a bit of wiggling, this will start to rise up a little bit. Now, the only thing you need to be very careful of is the leather on the sides here. If you don't take great care, you will damage this leather whilst trying to lever things up off of it. So it's really important that you use the wide tools so that when they're in here, they don't take too much, they don't put too much pressure on the leather side piece here. So once you've got the front piece, you might be able to get the wide one in to get it up a little bit higher, and then you can start to get it in the side, and then you level it from both sides, and eventually through a little bit of wiggling and wobbling you will get the whole thing to wobble off. Okay, and stop. The back will come up, and then you'll be able to get your finger in here, there, where you can get your fingers behind it now, and then you work your way along, rising it up and giving it a wiggle. There, done. And it's out. So there's the 6 tags, 2 at the back, 2 in the middle here, and 2 at the front, and they slot into those grooves, and they're like little metal clips in here. It's almost like a little cartridge cassette, and the tag fits into there. So all you're trying to do is lift it out vertically, and that's the centerpiece out. The next one is the trim above the glove box. Again, I'm going to do this one in reverse order so that you can understand what we're trying to get to. So I'll pop it off. You can see underneath there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tags to wiggle free. And it's a similar process as before. I'm just going to put it back in its place. It just clicks in. I'm not going to click it all the way back in because then I'll have to try and get it back out again, and I can't do that whilst trying to hold the camera at the same time. But effectively, you've got something that looks like that normally. A really good tool is the wide blade with a little hook on the end, and you effectively start here. Keep the glove box closed. Some people say, I've read it where you can do it easier with the glove box open, but I didn't find that. I found if you just got the tool in underneath there, you were able to pop the left-hand side next to the air vent the easiest. That popped up really quick, and I worked my way along, and the hardest bit to get out was this corner. I think to do with the way it's fitted with extra tags. So I used the hooky bit, and I got it underneath, and then I managed to force away and pop, the whole thing came off easily. So that's quite an easy one. Just one little thing to note, the dashboard here, these are the little slots where the tags go into, and sometimes they grip onto the tag and the metal clip comes off with it. So if that happens, you just have to wiggle it off the tag, and they grip into the plastic, which is why they're hard to pop. That's what they look like. And then you just pop it back into the slot, ready for when you, there, see that? 2 of them came off when I done it, 1 there and 1 on the back. So I'll just wheel that one off. Okay, that's the other one off, and it goes in. You can see the top one's kept the clip, but the bottom one, the clip's missing because it's come off with the panel. So again, you just pop it back in, give it a push, and it clicks in. So that's now ready to receive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's ready to receive the panel. The center trim that fits around the air conditioning and your CD unit and the onboard computer is one of the easiest ones to get off as well, believe it or not. It looks very difficult, but underneath at the bottom here, it's been purposefully designed so that this corner here is slightly too long, and you can just get your fingers behind it, and you'll feel this side here is all nice and flush, a little bit difficult to get your finger behind. This side here sticks down a little bit, so you can just get your fingers behind it. So if you just give it a bit of a yank, it will pop out. I've already loosened it before I filmed this, but it does come out very easily, this one. And then you can get your fingers behind this side, and then very, very easily it starts to pop away. And then it pops away. There's clips in the middle, so you just ease it off. I had to use no tools for this one. I've done it all with my hands. And then the top bit will wiggle off there, and this one will wiggle out there, and it pops off. and then you can see the 6 tags. So there's 3 along the top, 1, 2, 3, 2 kind of nearly in the middle, halfway down, and then there's 2 at the bottom, and those 2 bottom ones are very easy to release. And looking back at the dashboard, you've got 1 clip there, 1 clip there, the 2 at the bottom, 2 either side, which is midway, and then at the top you've got 1, 2, 3. So that's the center console onboard computer trim off in seconds without any tools at all, that one. So the final piece, the cigarette ashtray cover, sliding, lovely mechanism. That is by far the hardest piece to get off. This has taken me 2.5 hours to work out a way to do it. And despite all my internet searches, there isn't anything that seems to help. So this is how I have done it. So the center console now looks like that. We need to remove the left hand side leather panel, which is dead easy. When you look from the top, there's 1 screw, 2 screw, 3 screw which I've already removed, and 4 screw which I've already removed. All you need to do is remove these 2 here, and this is the passenger side I'm working on. This is the right hand drive car, of course. You undo these 2 screws, then you reach round to the front of the panel, which is underneath the glove box. You reach round and you put your fingers behind, and then you slide your fingers down and it pops off nice and easily. And you can see here now, I'm trying to do this with my torch. I'll swap the torch over. Sorry. That pops off, and you'll feel that there are little poppers in the back. You can see them there, and it will go all the way back to the armrest there. And what you do is you put your fingers behind and you just ease it off, pop it off, and it sits, quite difficult to see, but you can see it fits in the back there. It wedges into the plastic part that forms the back of the elbow rest, so it kind of sits in there. You can just see when I wobble it, it fits in there, so it will stay in the back, don't worry about that. But it's off now, and that's dead easy. It's just 2 screws. So once you've popped it off, okay, just let it drop down a little bit, okay, and it then gives you access to this, which you can pop that off. I've already popped it off myself. And that again is just a little plastic trim that fills the gap behind the cigarette drawer. Yeah, and all that is a little trim with the 2 little poppers on the back. Okay, and that just will click back in again later. So put that aside, and you now have this. You have the tray. And this is the key part that's really important. There is a metal part of the bulkhead here, which is set back just slightly further back than the back of the trim. Now, if you follow the instructions, what they say, if you buy your own new trim set, what they say is you slide it back, and this piece of plastic here on the left or the right, there, it says you insert a screwdriver where my little finger is, hold that piece of trim back, and then you pull on the top to release the veneered cladding on the top effectively. But it's impossible. I've tried absolutely everything, and the guy who gave me a few tips said he tried everything, and it was only through brute force he managed to get it off. I've tried so much and I cannot get that off. So after taking half the dash apart here, I put a lot of it back together again. Now I've had all this off, I've had all the computer out, trying to work out the best way to get this off. And the only way I've managed to get it off, and it seems like a little bit crude, but is to use a special tool, which is this here, which comes with a lot of the trim removal kits. It's like a little angled, it's a metal one. Most of the trim kit I've got plastic pieces, but mine came with this little metal one. And then what you do, if you look into the back, you use this piece here as leverage. You put the tool against the back, and then you slide it down the back of the veneered piece, and you can feel there's about 3 or 4 millimeters to hook the tool onto. There, see? There, just that much. And you hook it onto there. My first attempt, I've damaged the veneer at the back ever so slightly. But you can't see that bit because it's behind the plastic trim I've just removed. But you make sure you get a good grip on it, and then you basically, off of this metal piece, you lever the tool forward and it pushes it off from the back. So as explained, eventually I managed to get this to pop off at the back, and then once it pops off forward, and then you've got it, it's free. Now those little tags there are the reasons, 2 on each side, 2 there and 2 there. They are the reason why this does not come off. If you have a look, there's 4 little tags there, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and they're just little round, like notches, if you like. Can you see them? They're little tags with notches at the front. Okay, and they, when you turn it upside down and push it forwards onto the tray, they drop down into there underneath that little tag, and then you slide forward and then they locate. But the problem is, these tags here, when this clicks forward, those little feckin' pieces there, those 4 little tags, they slide over the top of that, and then they click into that hole in front of it, which means effectively it's almost impossible to pull the veneer off again. The tags, these little tags on the back, it's hard to see. You can see they're square. They're not even angled back. So when that slides over that tab, it locks up against the back of it, and that's why you cannot pull it forward. It's a design whereby once this clicks on, it's not coming back off again. And through brute force, I've managed to get it off, and it's caused a bit of damage here. I cannot find another way of getting that off without causing a little bit of damage. You can't see that because it's behind the trim, as I explained before, but there is no way I could get that off. I tried absolutely everything. So I managed to get it off in the end by levering it from the back and forcing it forward, and it eventually popped off. I've had blocks of wood levered against my dashboard with other blocks of wood to protect everything, packed off the sides. I've with my fingers trying to hook behind here. There's absolutely, the amount of force I needed to actually pop that off is just incredible. So here it is, off at last. And the little silver piece here is held on from some little rivets here. So you just pop these little rivets off and the little silver piece will come off. Once the silver piece is off, hopefully you can wrap it and then just slide the silver piece back on again, pop the rivets back in, and that will be it. Welcome to my preparation for sticking the vinyl onto my trims. The vinyl that I'm going to use is a 3M2080 series, which is breathable. So when you stick it on, all the air bubbles escape. So it's supposed to give a really good finish, and it's very easy to do. I'm not going to give you a demonstration on how to stick the vinyl on the trims because there's about 1,000 videos online on how to do that. I've never done it before, I'm not an expert, so I'm going to have a go. You need rubbing alcohol to clean the panels. You need a good hobby knife, a little bit of super glue to stick the wrap down on the back of the panel so that it doesn't unfold itself. That's just a little trick. There's a couple of different products you can use for that, but a few little dots of super glue around the edge should do the trick for that bit. I will show you my results once I've got them all wrapped, but my video is not about how to wrap, it's about how to get your trims off and get them back on again. So once it's finished and wrapped, I will show you how to fit them back onto the car. So this is the finished job. This is what the car looks like now the wrap's done. You can see that I've left the steering wheel and the small trim behind it because I chose to leave that bit. I think it looks nice. But the left hand side of the car here is quite dramatically changed with the new wrap. I'll open the door. You can see there is the wrap that I've chosen, and you can see it's perfect. The center console looks really, really good. And that's the panel above the glove box. And you can see it fits perfectly, and the wrap is detailed really nice. This wrap's got a slight texture on it. That pattern actually is textured. And the other door's done as well. I quite like just having the steering wheel and the trim behind. This trim I didn't show you how to get off. It's very similar. You just pop it off at the bottom, both sides. I think there's a clip at the top here as well. And then you wrap that and put it on. But I've chosen to keep it on. The steering wheel trim, I don't think it comes off very easily. I think that's stuck on with glue. And just because of the shape being semicircular like that and curved, it would be an extremely difficult shape to wrap if you wanted to wrap it. I mean, this is an option for the XKR to have a timber steering wheel. I don't think many people have got it, to be honest. And I actually quite like it. I like the feel of the it's got like an acrylic finish on it, which feels lovely in your hands. It just nice and grippy. So yeah, so that's my finished car. I hope you like it. I hope the video has been good enough for people to follow and have a go at wrapping their own trims. Thank you for watching.